Get a load of this one. What do you do when 30% of the rents are collected as cash and not deposited? It's like, first thing, you call your brother-in-law, the IRS agent, and you let him know you got a live one. But let's walk it through what you do, okay, and how we would go through this entire process. Because this is actually happening to one of my students. He's in the middle of due diligence. And let me tell you something. He's coming out looking like a rock star, and the seller is doing everything that my student is asking. And I want you folks to understand this is how you control a deal. So the first thing, obviously, in the Schedule A, in the purchase and sale contract, he's requesting bank statements, and he does that to confirm that the deposits are going in. Okay, well, in this particular case, he got the bank statements, and it is so ridiculously below what the guy claimed the income was. The student goes back and says, hey, this doesn't work. And so, of course, then he goes and he says, oh, yeah, well, here's the situation. We collect a lot in cash, and sometimes it doesn't make it into the bank. So, you know, that might be a problem, might not be a problem, but I got nothing to show you. All right, well, let's try this. And the thing is, what you want to try then is to request the Schedule E. Now, you know, and I'm going to click the next block as well, because there are actually two tax documents. But the two tax documents depend upon how the entity is being reported. If the guy owns the property personally, he's going to have that important income and expense information show up on what's called the Schedule E on his personal tax return. If you can get your hands on the Schedule E, because that's the situation the person is in, that's gold. That's actually, I mean, who is going to report, well, this is not a naive question, but who is going to report incorrectly to the IRS? Especially if you're using an accountant. The accountant is going to make sure that he's captured all that information correctly before he signs his name on that tax return. Now, the other thing is, who overinflates their income or their expense or their income to the IRS? Nobody does. So you know that that income that's showing up on the Schedule E is probably accurate and might even be a little bit low. Fine, we're going to use a Schedule E. Now, if it's an LLC, that gets reported on a partnership return. It's called a K-1. So the K-1 is going to show some of that information. It's not going to be as descriptive as the Schedule E, but you know, a Schedule E does not exist with an LLC or partnership. So you're going to take a look and ask for the K-1. Now, in this particular case, with this particular student, it didn't work, all right? That was not showing. You know, you look at the rent roll, you see the guy's making $10,000 a month. You look at the bank statement, he's only depositing $7,000. But listen, you know, what do you do? Okay, put yourself in the position of the manager or the owner on a month-to-month basis, and even the tenant. We always told our tenants that they had to have a receipt. Every time they came into our office to pay the rent, they had to walk out with a receipt. If the employee didn't give the receipt, they got in big trouble. So that tenant would have a paper trail of all the receipts. So one of the things that we look at is, are you giving receipts to the tenants? Let me see the receipt book. And in this particular case, the guy said, no, we're not giving receipts. All right, well, the last thing that we came up with is what we call the tenant estoppel letter. And folks, there is a sample of a tenant estoppel letter. I think it's actually in two places on the membership site. One of them is the due diligence class. Basically what it is, it's a letter. Form letter like this. You go and you do the mail merge, you tie it all together. You've got the rent roll, so you know what everybody's supposed to be paying, and you just ask the tenant, is this number right? Please sign off on this and tell me, is this right? Bob Bryant says run. But the student doesn't want to run. He actually really likes his property. He thinks he can make this a nice go. So we're going to figure out all the ways we can solve it. So I get this wicked sore throat. I was in the, that's when I was in the minute clinic, the hour and a half long clinic. And I'm trying to get resolved. So this is it. You can download this document off our membership site. It's just a form letter. We actually have, I think we have two of them. This one is kind of done for a, well, this one works. But the thing is, and hey, there's a great way to go meet your future tenants and ask them, hey, please prove, is this what you pay? Because I'll tell you right now, whatever they say they're paying, that's what you're going to be charging them when you take over the property. So if they put in the wrong number, it doesn't match up with the rent roll or what have you, then we got a problem. So that is, and you want to find out this problem before any of this starts. So, all right, let's keep it moving.